Good morning, YouTuber family. Jonny Cashflow here. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. So I have a special treat for you guys at the very end of this video. I'm going to share with you 12 videos that share the secrets of financial freedom. So definitely check out the link at the very end of this video and check out those 12 videos that I put together on that list for you guys. So check that out. And today, getting to what we're going to be talking about is the 3 steps to financial freedom. So we're going to make it super simple. All you need to do first is add value. Second, get $100,000. And third, double that 5 times. So let's walk through that. What all that means. So you can think about it as steps, you can think about it as stages, however you want to look at it. In that first stage, that first season of pursuing financial independence, financial freedom, your whole focus is on making more money, right? Because when you're just barely surviving and there's not a lot of margin left over in discretionary income, it's very difficult to actually be able to build momentum, cost average into the stock market, invest in real estate, essentially have enough left over in order to actually be able to participate in the investment and big business approaches to making income. So the whole critical thing in this stage is to figure out ways to add value. Double, triple, quadruple, if you want to go Grant Cardone, 10x the value that you're providing to the company that you work for, the business that you have, whatever your driving force for income is, or whatever your driving force for income you would like to develop is, you need to figure out ways to add more value. The income that you make is in direct proportion that the value that you provide, the people that you serve, the people that you help with what you have to provide. So in this first season, your whole focus is to add value. If you continue to double, triple, quadruple, or 10x the value that you're adding in your company or in your employer's company, the income will always follow. And it seems like a silly thing to say, but the effort and the output always precedes the increase in income, right? You need to add value and create more value before you're going to see the economic results. And that might not be next week, next month. It might be several quarters, several years of something that you're building and growing over time. So whether it's even if it's a job that doesn't have a sales element, you're still building and growing your reputation over that time in order to show the company that you are reliable, that you add a lot of value outside of the, whatever widget you are in the company currently. So that's the first huge thing that I would, focus on, and again, if it's proportional, if you're going to double the value that you're providing, then you should be able to double your income. So whether you're making 25 now or 50K now, you should be able to double that to 50 or 100K or more. If you're making 100K and you're going to double the value that you're creating, you should be able to then double your income. If you're not in an industry or, one of the 7 things that can, make you a millionaire, kind of those industries that I talked about, you may want to consider other industries where you would be able to add more value, or other companies where you are able to add more value, where they can compensate you properly for the extra value that you're adding in the organization. So that's always something to consider. But a lot of times when you just focus on adding value first, the universe and your career grow in serendipitous, exponential ways that you could have never expected. So in this first season, yeah, your goal is to double your income, make 50 to 100K, and in doing so, you have enough left over in discretionary, not only to like live some amount of enjoyment in your life along the journey, but also to have enough in order to be able to invest in a way that you can't currently, right? If you're making 25K and you're surviving at that, you'd feel rich at 50K. If you're making 50K and you double that, you're surviving at 50K and you have an extra 50K, maybe 40K after tax, that's life-changing money. And that life-changing money, especially you stack it up for 2, 3, 4 years, suddenly that life-changing money can get you to step 2, right? So again, not to ramble on, but it's kind of, counterintuitive, or, people would say like, oh, the best way to make money is to just focus on making money and trying to find things that make money. And well, sales make money, so let me like be this pushy sales guy that like needs to close every deal and like, that's good luck with that. I haven't found that approach typically to work, and if it doesn't work long term. I don't know. What I have seen be successful in the self-made multimillionaires that I'm mentored by, that I've met and seen on YouTube and different businesses, they are very purpose-driven people, and they're very focused on adding value and serving the people that their company or mission or whatever they're doing, project, whatever they're doing, they're very focused on adding that value first, and I think there is something to be said for finding something in your life that you are excited about enough that you are excited about the impact or the things that you can do, the people that you can help with your product or your service or your information. I think there's something to be said about the lasting power in having something that is purpose-driven like that. So I think I said 5 minutes ago I wasn't going to ramble too long on adding value, but like I said, it's counterintuitive. It's a very important thing to know, and a lot of people will never get past the step 1. Biggest thing I think of is, just consistently adding the value, finding ways, thinking creatively to add value. I mentioned adding value in multiple times of the value that you're adding now, because what it forces you to do is say, well, how can I add twice as much value to my company or employer's company currently? Well, I need to get creative, because right now I already think I'm producing at whatever, 95, 100, 110% out of what I could produce, how I'm, approaching producing it currently. So if I'm going to double, triple, quadruple that, then I need to think different. I need to approach things different. I need to create more systems, or, really think out of the box in order to, drive your income, add that value in, ways that you can't even, that you haven't been thinking about previously. So adding all that value, like I said, the byproduct of that will be the increase in income. Could be 50, could be 100, could be 150. Anybody listening to this and thinking about step 1, I would say your step 1 is whatever your income is right now, double it. Because if you double your income, that's going to be plenty of money for you to live the lifestyle that you live now, and have plenty to invest, right? So that's step 1. Step 2, once you're there, and maybe you're, now that you have this income, hopefully you didn't inflate your lifestyle, hopefully you stuck to a budget, maybe you paid off some debt, which is good, and you're not, wasting as much money on debt payments and things. But the whole critical thing on the second step is to have $100,000. And as I mentioned in another video, Charlie Munger talks about getting that first 100,000 being a BITCH I don't like to curse. That's an ugly word. But anyways, he said that. He did. And he's a billionaire. When I'm a billionaire, I'll say it. I'll say it on YouTube. I'll say that word. Because I have you got the entitlement as a billionaire. You do whatever you want. But it's a good and a bad thing. But anyways, as Charlie Munger correctly said, the first 100,000, right? Getting rid of your debt, getting that first nugget of 100K is a tricky thing to do, and it's a different step in its own right outside of adding value, right? You could add value all day and make $2 million a year and still be broke every year for the rest of your life and forever need to work, right? I wouldn't advise that. I mean, maybe it would be fun, but I don't know. I mean, unless you're like investing it in like impactful things like helping people and but if you're just like blowing it in Vegas, then I don't know, that would be a frivolous way, I think, to spend your life and your money. But my whole point is, even that person that has that incredible income, they figured out how to add incredible value in their industry, they're never going to get step two completed if they don't get some things right about their life and their lifestyle and their mindset and their budget. Because even when you're making $1 million a year, you need to have a budget, maybe even more so than if you're making 25,000 a year, because you're so much more and closer to survival mode. When you're making $1 million a year, there's a lot of things you can blow a lot of money on without thinking about it. And there's more moving parts. It's an interesting dynamic. But my whole point is, this second step, getting the $100,000 debt free together, is critical to everybody who wants to build long-term wealth, financial freedom, financial stability even in their life. Because even if you have 500, $1 million, 2 million in assets and some amount of cash flow that's guaranteed from it, that's not necessarily getting you to your retirement. It might just get you to a financial stability that all my bills are handled by my passive income, and I'm working in order to build a large enough nest egg that any incidentals, then I can step away full time. Or maybe I'm just continuing to work because I like the work that I'm doing, and I like to invest in frivolous things like going on cruises and going around the world, and music, whatever. Going to ridiculous concerts, going to the Eras tour and spending $20,000. Why not? You got your money, God bless you. But anyways, I digress. I say all that to say the important critical second step is getting that 100K together. There's different elements, but it's really top line, bottom line. What are you taking in? What do you have left? What's your revenue? What's your expenses? I look at everything like it's a simple, my whole life is a simple business plan. How much am I pulling in? How much is going out? Right? And I want that delta to be as big as possible. And there's two sides that I can attack that from. I can, on my first step, focus on adding value to increase my income. And on my second, on the second step, while I'm continuing to increase my income, second step, I think, is a lot about being smart with your money, about budgeting. Part of it could be investment. I definitely started investing when I had, still a lot more debt than cash. I've been investing for over a decade, but, however you get to that first 100K, most of it's going to be developing right budgeting habits. That's what I think the biggest thing is in the second step. So I think while first step's all about adding value and increasing your income, the second step's all about being smart with your money, doing strategic things if you are going to invest, doing some things that can have quick turnarounds, like if you can, put 20K down on a property and invest 10, 20K to fix it up, and then you're going to flip it for 100K because you had that 20% wedge on a 500K property. you're going to do something like, kind of clever like that, where you're going to get a big hit that's going to get you past your 100K. That was actually one of the things, that happened to me, that it was a combination of increasing the income and the things that I was doing in my pursuits in investments and big business. So those are the first two steps, right? The second step, once you have that 100K together, you're doing two things. You're now first protecting that 100K, because while 100K is a lot of money, 100K is not a lot of money if you don't have a budget and like you don't have plans with that money, right? Like if you just in the lotto, you were for no effort, essentially, you were given 100K. Well, we should go to like Paris and we should go on a 14-day cruise, and we should, there's like a lot of frivolous things that I'd be like, well, I didn't work for this money, and maybe give like 10,000 to charity. You got to tithe it for sure. Give your charitable contributions on the money that you won that you didn't work for. Sure, but my whole point is that 100K can be spent very frivolously, right? Especially if you don't have the right budgeting habits around it. And so you got to protect it, but then the progression in the third step is to grow it. And I mentioned the third step is to double it 5 times. And ideally, you're doubling it 5 times in 3 years or less. Why are you doubling it 5 times in 3 years or less? In fact, ideally, you're doubling it in 1 to 3 years, right? So you take that 100K, you go to 200K, 400K, 800K, 1.6, 3.2 million by doubling it 5 times. You, like Jay-Z said, you turn a 2 to a 4, 4 to a 8. Anyways, trying to give you $1 million worth of game for $9.99. Great lines in that song. I digress, but that is the whole focus of that third step. And you say, oh, well, that's simpler than it sounds. Absolutely, it's simpler than it sounds to find investments that double your initial assets every 1 to 3 years for the next 5 cycles of that. It's absolutely easier said than done. But first thing I would say is that there is definitely some level of exponential growth that is nonlinear, where you might get to 250, but then that 250 now becomes 1.3 from whatever like exponential thing you were doing, where it might not be exactly every 1 to 3 years I double. But here's the thing about, if you have in your mind, I want to take my assets and double them every 1 to 3 years. Well, your brain is a solution machine, right? So your brain is only going to look for opportunities that can double your investment in 1 to 5 years, right? Because if you double your investment in 5 years, then that's 5 times, that's 25 years. And that's not the worst thing in the world, right? If you do it in 3, the midpoint, that's 15 years. You do it in, you double it once, or you double it every year, you're at 5 years, right? So either way, you're kind of on that like 5 to 25 years. And it's a very simple way to conceptualize what we're actually doing, right? We add value, we develop that first 100K nugget that's going to compound, right? And the reason we develop that 100K is to really set up the right income and the right budget, and also to have enough of a nugget that's actually going to have significant compounding, right? Because even 100K at 5% compounding over 30 years is a significant return on your investment, right? And there's guaranteed money markets that have 5% right now. But the whole idea is your brain is going to seek out those opportunities in order to double your assets every 1 to 3 years. And if it takes 5 years, it takes a little longer, or maybe the first time to get it to 200K takes 5 years. And then to double it again only takes 2 years, and to double it a third time only takes 2 years again, right? So like I said, it's not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but the critical thing is to start wrapping your mind around that as an opportunity. That is a possibility. I have 10,000. I can turn it into 20 in the next year, 1 to 3 years. What are opportunities that could make that possible? You know, and that gets into a whole question, you know, because then it's like, yo, let's YOLO it. Let's put it on Dogecoin. Let's be the next Dogecoin millionaire. It's going to be super bougie and cool. And maybe it could be, who knows, you know, but that really goes to what your risk tolerance is. That's you know, very much, even if I was a, financial expert, you know, a licensed expert, it's a very personal question in terms of what your risk tolerance is. You know, are you willing to take the asset? Say you get you get to the second step, you got the 100K. Are you willing to take that 100K now and go buy Bitcoin at 25,000, YOLO it, and just kind of see what happens? Like, oh, I think Bitcoin's going to go to 250,000 by 2025. Hey, and it might, and that'd be great. God bless you. But it could also split in half in that same amount of time. And how would that impact your lifestyle, your mindset, your emotions, your spiritual relationships, everything in your life? That's always what you need to question about it. But that's very simple. So add value, 100K, get your 100K together, double that 5 times. Once you do that, you'll have $3.2 million. You dunk the $3.2 million in the money market or dividend stock with at least a 5% return, even a 4% return. But for argument's sake, the 5% does easy math for me, and it's 160K that you're making annually just from your money on money. Your money is now working for you because you've developed enough assets, you've added enough value to people that you can reap the benefits of all the seeds that you've been sowing. And so looking at those 3 steps, I'll leave you on this right before I give you the link to those secret videos. You should always judge your success by the seeds that you are sowing as opposed to the harvest that you're reaping, right? Because the seeds that you're sowing is with you. When and what the harvest will be is with God. It's not in your control. We want to control the controllables. Focus on what we can control. Focus on your actions. Focus on sowing good seeds. Law of reaping and sowing. If you sow those good seeds, they will yield the harvest if you follow these 3 steps. So with that, I thank you guys. I love y'all. I hope you're having a beautiful rest of your day. And you're definitely going to want to check out these 12 videos that are going to pop up right here. Boom, right there. You like that? It is a little, one day I'll get really crafty with my editing. And when I do that, I'll go, bing, oh, there's a new video. Great. Okay. And then also you're going to want to subscribe right there. Right there is where you're going to subscribe. But you're going to want to go to my secret playlist right up here, okay? Okay, so I love you guys. Peace out. Have a wonderful day. I will talk to you soon. I hope you guys enjoy those 12 secret videos. And I also look forward to catching you guys on the next one. Much love. Talk to you soon. Bye.